Division Director. I'm the Division Director of Division F, and she's the one for Division H. But otherwise, thank you so much for that wonderful welcome.
I'm very sorry, I stay corrected. Thank you.
No, not at all. Thank you once again for that. A warm good morning to everyone gathered here, district officers, extended team. It's a pleasure to meet all of you today. Before this session started, we were discussing about how wonderful this would have been if we had met in person. But for that one little challenge, I think we are having a fantastic session. Let me start with a short analogy before I get into my session. As leaders, I'm sure all of us have taken up this position because we want to bring in change. We want to go ahead and make sure all our clubs are president distinguished. We become a star area director, a stellar division director. All of us have those dreams. I'm not going to lie about it. Definitely, we want to tag ourselves with some kind of a name and fame. But as leaders, this is the biggest lesson I learned in my corporate journey as well as in Toastmasters. Even in my own organization, I had the training and development team. And if you realize the training and development team is all talk, but actually we can't do much. Leadership is very similar to gardening. Think of yourself as a gardener. What control do you have over the entire situation? You might go to the store, buy the best of seeds possible. You can buy the best of fertilizers possible, best of the insecticide possible. You come, you sow your seed, you give it the required fertilizer. You make sure the environment is good for it. If there is no rain, you would pour water depending on what you think is the actual need of the plants. While you can do everything to give it a good environment, in reality, we have absolutely no control over the growth. And I learned this big when the year I was the area director, we were working with all the clubs, and suddenly March 2019, all of you know what happened. 2020, all of you know what happened. We had the pandemic. Out of 4 of my clubs, 2 of my clubs did not renew at all. And there was nothing I could do about it. I could not convince the clubs because, of course, at that point of time, their priority was definitely not Toastmasters. On the other hand, I could not find the vaccine to make sure Corona was gone in a jiffy. So I had no control at all. And in many situations, our leadership journey is similar. We can only nurture and create the right environment. And creating the right environment is what we will strive to do this year as the program quality team. With that, I'm going to ask you all a question, and I will, Srinath will share a link in the chat box. The question is very simple. Why do you think people join Toastmasters? Why do you think people join Toastmasters?
To improve the communication skills.
Thank you so much for that response, but I would appreciate if you could quickly, type in the chat box. Srinath, can you share the link, please?
It's been shared already.
Okay, thank you. Because open up and talk, since I'm seeing the screen, I will not be able to see what you all are typing. So you'll have to talk. I would like to hear more responses.
To improve our public speaking skills.
Thank you, Reena. Would it be possible to go ahead and type it in the chat box, or rather in the Mentimeter link that's given? I'm going to give another 10 seconds. Srinath, can you confirm if everyone's able to see the messages coming up?
We can see it, I think.
Yes,
okay.
I think we can see.
Yes.
Done. So I'm going to stop sharing over here. The most common ones are public speaking, leadership, communication, networking, growth, supportive environment. I will show you something which Toastmasters talks about why people join Toastmasters. And they've done it beautifully where they have a theory called the Maslow's need of hierarchy of needs, where they talk about the different needs or different stages of needs that a person goes through. This is suitable for life also, and Toastmasters compares it with the Toastmaster situation, where they say the most basic need for someone to join Toastmasters is to overcome the fear of public speaking. 80% of category of people will fall under this particular need as to why they join Toastmasters. Once they are comfortable with this basic need, they know that this is the right place for them to overcome fear of public speaking. They move on to the second need, which is safety. And under safety, they are looking at a safe, supportive club environment, which is what we talk about in terms of the sandwich feedback that we give, our evaluations, how we encourage people, how we give opportunities. All this come under this supportive and safe club environment. And then once they are comfortable, they move on to the next need, which is social need. Only when they feel safe and supportive will they start looking at interaction. They start talking to people, they become friendly, they welcome the new or the fellow members who join into the club. So they start socializing amongst the club. Once that socializing need is also taken care of, that's when they move into the fourth need, which is the esteem need. And in terms of esteem, this is when they get recognized for a fantastic speech contest, they get into a speech contest, they take on leadership roles, they share different programs, they do roles like TMOD and they get appreciated. And then comes the last one, which is self-actualization. This is the need to realize your potential. All of us have some potential, could be in terms of public speaking or organizing, networking, leadership. Once these two needs are taken care of, they get into that particular need where they'll be able to use their potential to do something that will give them satisfaction. So Toastmaster says these are the 5 needs that a member has, and all the answers that we got some time back will be covered in those needs. Now comes the question. Again, Srinath, can you please go ahead and post the next Menti link? If you could acknowledge once you post, that would be great.
Sure, I'm doing it now. Just give me a minute.
Thank you.
Yeah, the link is posted.
Yeah. Now the question is, how would you, as district officers, make sure the members, these 5 needs are met by the members? This is as district officers, so don't talk from a club perspective. Support, educate, respect, be approachable, empathetic, resourceful, connect, motivate, educate, guidance, understand, goals. I'm looking at the different ones and just reading them out. Stay connected, help. By listening to them, I like that. Whoever said that, fantastic. Help them meet expectations. I'm going to open for another 10 seconds. I will capture this cloud and share it with all of you. Done. Thank you so much. So all of us know that there is a need, and we also know that as district officers, we need to fill that need. The idea that we as the PQD team have to fill that need is the basic need. We will talk about giving them roles in the area, division, and district events, and making sure these roles are open and are of equal opportunities. So one suggestion that we had amongst the trio, and we will do it after the start of the term, is we will send a link out asking for nomination from all the members to take up any roles in any district event. Could be a train the trainer or DOTP. Even for DOTP, we needed about 8 role players. And we were actually struggling to get those role players. So there's a huge disconnect. There are people who want roles. On the other hand, they're not able to get roles. So we will open up these roles to all the members, like what we did for the area director nomination. The nomination went out to all the members, not just to the ExCom officers, and we got a fantastic response. Similarly, roles will be open to all the members. You have to fill in that particular sheet. We will have it in our repository, and anytime there is a role needed, we will go ahead and take from this repository. Then, of course, comes safety. The biggest challenge which all of us were discussing is, while we talk about how to evaluate in a contest, not everyone is looking at contest. Let's learn how to evaluate in a club meeting. The most basic need, once again, to learn how to evaluate in a club meeting. How do I do a particular role? If I want to take my leadership journey to the next level, who do I approach? So there's going to be a lot of focus in terms of training, coaching, and mentoring. This year, I will talk about mentoring a little in detail later on, but this year, there will be a focus, a higher level of focus in mentoring and creating more mentors from the district. Then comes the social need. Of course, all of us want to network, and the best way to network is, first and foremost, we thought every month we will have an open house where the trio will be available to answer any of your questions. For want of a structure, each open house will have one particular theme. Maybe it's renewal season, so the theme will be around renewal, or maybe it is about contest, so the theme will be around contest. But it does not stop you from asking any other pressing questions. So there will be an open house where you can ask your questions and the trio will respond to make sure this interaction is taken care of. However, we have a small criteria. The questions should be sent to the trio at least 3 days prior of the meeting. We definitely want to make sure we answer all your questions. So your questions reaching us a little early, we'll be prepared with the answers, because if we don't know the answers, we have time to do our research and come back. And once in a quarter, leveraging the online platform, we will bring in one international leader to have a session with all of us. And this is planned once in a quarter. So again, above your club level, above your area level, what are the different networking opportunities is what we thought. And that's when we brought in these two programs to take care of that need. And then, of course, comes the esteem need. Trust me, if last year you had a lot of awards, this year you're having more awards. And the idea of awards is to motivate people. What I loved about last year, and I'll be very honest, almost all the people, the individuals who won awards did not plan for the awards. They went ahead giving their speeches, they went ahead completing their levels and completing their path. And end of the term, they got a message or a call or a mail stating, you have won an award, which surprised a lot of people. And this year too, there are a lot of awards. And to make sure the awards reach the members, we are categorizing it into 2. I will let my awards committee chair talk about it, but believe me, there are enough awards and you will have enough communication to make sure you all win the awards. Because how else do we motivate people than giving them a recognition for what they've done? And we've taken this a step further. Anyone who does a district level, let's say education session or a TLI training program, or even the trainers who were there in the DOTP session, we will make sure we tag you on your LinkedIn page and give you a comment. We'll go ahead and endorse your session so that it carries weightage on your LinkedIn page, which you know is a professional social platform. So this is another area which we want to focus this year. And then comes the self-actualization. Here, because you have done all these needs, you've taken care of these needs, and you want a bigger platform, as I told you all at the beginning, let us know and we will make sure we give you opportunities as chairs in different district events. All district events, including this DOTP, we needed a chair to run the entire show. And we want to make sure this is given, this opportunity is given to the right people. So we have chairs, mentors and leaders. Leaders, of course, you all know what the leadership track is all about, but many people are not sure how to proceed in the leadership track. Many people, they aim for it, but they do not know how to take it forward. So this time there'll be a lot of leadership mentoring that will be taken care of. And when I'm talking about mentoring, the mentor pool committee will work closely with the people who are interested in becoming mentors, train them on becoming mentors. And after they train them on becoming mentors, a couple of mentees will be marked to them, will be tagged to them. You complete a mentoring cycle with them. And along with the Toastmasters mentoring certificate, you could go back to your corporates and you could let them know now you're ready to start mentoring people in your organization. So these are the plans we have for this term to make sure all the 5 basic needs of a Toastmaster is taken care of. And this is how we plan to do it. That was what to do. This is how to do. We have Divya, who will be heading the liaison team. Divya will be taking care of the open houses and the international leaders talk sessions. Dinesh Balaji will be taking care of the awards, which comprises of all the Hall of Fame awards as well as Golden Gavel. Srinath will continue this term from the DCP chair to the TLI team, and he will take care of all the leadership requirements of District 120. And then we have Manju, who will be the district CJ and who will be supporting us with the district contest. And of course, Neena ma'am has been extremely kind and she has agreed to continue as the mentor pool committee chair. And along with her, both the mentor pool committee members, that is Sampath Saurirajan sir, as well as Saro Velrajan, have accepted to continue their term. They will add on more people to strengthen the team so that they'll be able to look at delivering a lot more sessions and reaching out to a lot more people. Last year, I still remember as a division director, when we went and approached people and spoke about the mentor pool initiative, people were like, what is the mentor pool initiative all about? Do we even need a mentor pool initiative? The same set of people at the end of the term said, you know what, you had a great initiative, but we don't have enough mentors. Even the awareness that we need mentors, every club needs a mentor, every individual needs a mentor, is a huge success the way I see it for this particular committee. And this year we will go ahead and look at how do we create more mentors. And the last one, the Youth Leadership Committee. Last year we trained about 300 students, underprivileged students, and they had shared the benefit that they received from this particular initiative. This was one of the best things we did last year in reaching out to the underprivileged students. And this year, from 300, our district director has set a goal of reaching at least 1,000 underprivileged students. And we would require all your support in making sure this initiative is a grand success. If not giving back to the society, what is Toastmasters all about? Now, the person who's going to be leading the Youth Leadership Committee, I'm going to open a poll where all of you can text me and guess who the person is. Well, not really. We are still trying to finalize the chair for the Youth Leadership Committee. We have a name shortlisted. The person, we just need to confirm with the person. So I thought I'll put it out as guess who and keep that interest going. Now, let me get into what is it that you all have to do as area directors and division directors when it comes to club quality. But before that, I have a small activity. I'm going to give 30 seconds. Timer, please help me find 30 seconds. All of you grab 8 coins, either a 1 rupee coin or a 2 rupee coin, any coin, just go ahead and quickly grab 8 coins. Run. We've been sitting down the whole of yesterday. So today, at least, let's start the morning. If you missed your morning exercise, here is an opportunity. MC, I will excuse you. You seem to be confused. Should I go? Should I stay back? So it's okay. Others run. Timer, let me know when it's 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to assume that all of you have gotten your, thank you, timer. All of you have gotten your coins. I stopped this. You need not do this. Please arrange 7 of your coins in a V shape. A little crooked V, it's okay, but you arrange it in a proper V shape. Done. Now you have the 8th coin, right? You will have to add it in either of the wings. But what is important is when you add it, it still should remain the same height. When you add the V either to the left wing or to the right wing, the height should be the same. It should look like a proper V, not one side of the V extending. If any of you have the answer, you could just quickly unmute and talk.
Maybe at the bottom of the V.
Bottom.
Yeah.
I placed it on top of another coin.
Yeah, see, we have some spoil sports like this who get the answer at the first go itself. I'm sorry, who was that?
Ashwin.
Thank you, Ashwin. Very simple. Instead of placing it anywhere, you could just place it on top of one of these coins. Then you have added the V and the V stays intact. What does this game have to do with club quality? The challenge is, unlike any of the other years, this year we have a new challenge. But the bigger problem is we don't have too much of tools to try and do things differently. So with the same tool that we have in hand, you will only have to replace it somewhere, probably try a few combinations and permutations. And with that, we will have to make sure the club gets what it wants. Having a networking session, Srinath and I were talking about at the end of every TLI session, let's open up the room for a 15-minute networking session where anyone and everyone can talk what they want. If you're a club that meets for 2 hours, maybe you will have to try and cut it down to 1.5 hours. 2 hours is still a longer time. And when you cut it off to 1.5 hours, still that enthusiasm will be maintained. So small changes is what you can recommend. You really can't recommend big changes. We can't innovate a lot. You could include a joke master. You could include we have someone who's called the pronunciation master. So there are small changes that can be made, but these changes is what will help you win the game. So with that, what is this agenda all about? It's about club quality. How do you prepare for a club visit? Club visits and the resources that you have in hand. Again, none of this is new. If you go to Toastmasters International, you'll have all this detail, but let me help you go through it quickly. Club quality is all about member experience. And member experience means membership, education, and leadership. Beyond these 3, there is not much. If at all you have different branches, they will all come under membership, education, and leadership. And as Satish said, if you don't have members and you only have education goals being filed, there is a problem. If you have members and no education goals being filed, that is also a problem. This is the clearest indication for you from the dashboard that whether a club is doing well or not. Both these have to go hand in hand. I know clubs where they have 40 members, but education goal that's been filed out of the DCP, the 6 goals, only 1 goal is filed. What does it mean? They are not meeting, or if they are meeting, they are only doing table topics. And what happens when you only do table topics? You have a lot of fun. But at the end of 6 months, you have nothing to show for yourself. Not even a certificate that says level 1 completed. So then you're not happy about it. Or you don't have members because of which you're not able to run a proper meeting. So either of these 2 failing, you know that the club is a problematic club. And let me share my own example. I belong to a corporate club which was in existence for 3 years before I joined the club. And all it took for that one club, for the club to transform was me making it to the district stage for table topics contest. The minute I won the area level and I went to the division level, the entire club wanted me to take it to the next level, and we had a lot of engagement happening. Of course, I did not win the district stage that year. The next year, I moved out of the organization, so I could not continue my membership. But another person in the organization went on to become an area director. And again, the club thrived. They came and they participated in a lot of events. But once that person also moved out, there was no other leaders who came from that particular club. The club started deteriorating so much so the club had to be closed. So that is why I'm saying member experience, make sure all these three components are there. Pull that one person to all the conferences, give that at least 2 people in that club an opportunity to participate in all the events. Only then will that club get out of the club mode and become a part of this huge family called Toastmasters. And if they are not a part of this family, over a period of time, we will lose them. That is why as as area directors and division directors, you need to focus on these 3 areas. So in a club visit, what do you have to do? Number 1, you have to do a minimum of 2 visits. I've seen extreme cases where both these visits don't happen, and some area directors who go there every week because the club is a week club. Fantastic, appreciable effort taken from your end. But what happens once your term gets over? If they do not become self-sufficient by that time, next year they will also expect the same support. And if that support does not happen, the club will again die down. So always be this remote person giving them the support. Don't be there. Don't be the person to do it on their behalf. Only educate them, guide them, be the coach for them. But minimum 2 visits is important. Only then will you know the reality. As it is today, all of us are doing it over, an online platform. So make sure you have a minimum of 2 visits. And preparation of these 2 visits does not mean a phone call where you ask them, can I come tomorrow? Or can I go ahead and fix on this particular date? That is not the preparation. Go ahead and first look at the dashboard. You can take the history from the dashboard of that particular club. Know when the club was chartered. Understand what was the DCP points they achieved last term and in what breakup. Talk to the previous area director. Please involve your immediate past area director in everything that you do, because they are going to be your mentors for this next 1 year. And you will become the mentors for the next set of area directors. Only then will sustainability happen. We've been talking about sustainability. To become sustainable, this is important. So for preparation, talk to your immediate past area directors. Find out who the mentors of the club are if it's a new club. Or if the club has coaches, find out who the coaches are and talk to them to get an input from them about the club and accordingly prepare yourself. Most of the area directors have become division directors. You will get a broader picture from them. Talk to them. If 1 year before the area director is still active, reach out to that area director. If this club is not from your area, if this club is not from your division, talk to that particular person. Go online. Our PR manager, Jaika, said it beautifully. Does the club have a website? What is your presence in Facebook? Today, people are not checking Facebook. They are more into Instagram. If it's a corporate club, then LinkedIn is extremely important. Read all this information before you go to the club. I still remember walking to a particular club and saying this person, the president, was into cycling. And I said, you know what? Probably once the pandemic is over, let's have a cycling marathon for Toastmasters. And the person was all charged up. Work got done easier after that. So understand the differences, the little nuances that can help you build that rapport. So prepare well. This is a proper preparation that needs to be done, not an on-the-fly visit. And then build trust. We will look at how to build trust in the next slides. Okay. So what do you do during your, now you've fixed everything, you're prepared, you're there at the club. What do you do during the club visit? Number 1 is observation. Now there is a AD visit report I will share it with you in an email after this session is over, where they talk about, it's kind of similar to the MOT document. But this is MOT is a discussion, whereas the area visit report is only your input. Take that report, have a copy of it, and make a mark when you go to the club visit. See whether they start on time and end on time. Look at the way they greet their members. Do they make sure they have a continuity after the session is over so guests can be converted into members? Observe all this and make a note of it. Second, you discuss with the club ExCom about the DCP points. All said and done, DCP is critical. That is, it's like your vitals. You need to keep a check on the vitals. Similarly, DCP is the vital of a club. So talk about that to the club ExCom. Understand from them what is their plan. You already will have the club success plan. See if they are on track for achieving the club success plan during your visit. And then discussion. This is when you come back to your division director and say, this is what I observed. This is what happened. And here are the points of discussion. This is during, this discussion is during the club is with the ExCom. You discuss with the ExCom on the DCP points. After is when you submit the AD report and then you discuss with your division director. After discussing with your division director, you go back to your club president and ExCom and say, these are some of the points that we noted. These are some of the solutions that we have for the challenges that you have shared. And this is what we think you will have to do. Also, be very transparent and honest and telling them, I have only given these many points because of these reasons. We believe in sandwich feedback. Don't tell them this club will not prosper because you're not doing this. That is not the transparency we're talking about. But tell them, unless you do these, in future, this kind of a challenge will come up. If you do not track the guests who come in, you will not be able to convert them into members. If you do not have at least 3 educational goals, end of 6 months, most of your members will feel that they have not achieved something substantial in the Toastmaster term. So that is the feedback you will have to do. And feedback is all about data. Feedback without data is only gossip. So when you tell them that they have to do something, show them the data points and then talk to them about it. The minute you are transparent and you talk data, trust will be built. Then comes the second club visit. Now what happens, most of the visit reports that we see, the first visit and the second report is almost the same. In the second report, what is important is you need to start looking at the similarities of the feedback in the first report and the second report. If there are any differences, include those differences. If there was an issue in the first visit that has not been resolved, make a note of it because that is critical. If the issue is continuing, that's a warning sign for us. Any suggestion that you had made which has been implemented, please go ahead and track it in the second visit. Also, track the DCP progress. Mostly in your first visit, there will not be much of a DCP progress, except for some clubs where they stop filing in May and June and they wait to file in July. Other clubs will not have a progress. So make sure that the second visit we talk about DCP progress. And then any accomplishment, however small, it might be small for you, but for them, it's a huge accomplishment. Make sure you acknowledge their accomplishments. This is during the visit. After the visit, you submit the second AD report. You discuss the report with your division director, go back to the club and share the discussions and the findings so that any course correction, they would be able to work on that. I'm not sure how many of you checked your emails. I think Wednesday I had sent an email with all the resources that PMI gives for an area director. I will once again send this mail after this session. Please make sure you go through the reports, go through these resources. They are extremely useful. What I love about Toastmasters is they have all the scenarios, taken care of. You talk about any challenge, they have a resource for it. What I don't love about Toastmasters, you have to search for the reports. And I think that's important. Only when you search and you discover these reports by yourself will you understand what a wonderful platform this is. We need not reinvent the wheel. Maybe we'll have to change the wheels depending on which wheel needs more strength. We always have the spare wheel. Sometimes we put the spare wheel and take the other wheel, we repair it and put the second wheel in there. You need not reinvent the wheel, but as area directors and division directors and district officers, we need to know what the wheels are for us to play around. And you have all the resources available. As I said, I have emailed it to you. I'll do it once again. Please go through all the resources. And the District Leadership Handbook 222 will be the Bible that will help you throughout the entire year. In conclusion, what will we focus on? Positive member experience to make sure club quality is achieved, and that can be done through club visits. And if you have any more questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I'm sorry, I did not see the timer at all since I was presenting. I hope I did not go above the red card.
No.
Okay, and how much of time do we have left? Okay, I think we have about 20 minutes. I'm open for any questions that can be asked.
Hi, Aarti.
Yes.
Yeah, I am president of a corporate club, but under me we have a corporate and community club, which is new for me. How do you see a community club and the membership growth that they have with respect to the limitation that they have? Because I'm new to that, and we see like there is a lot of problem that we have with respect to this virtual meeting and having people getting in. I just want to know how to increase the membership strength with respect to the community club.
See, I think luckily community clubs, the challenges are lesser because people volunteer themselves to become members. They want to become members. They have a clear goal as to why they want to become members. So the membership in a community club, I would say, is, yes, it's a problem. I'm not going to say it's not a problem, but compared to a corporate club, here it should not be a challenge because one, it's on the weekend. There are a lot of people who are interested, but most important factor as to why someone joins the community club, one is learning, two is networking. The person is joining on their own because they want to network and because they want to learn. So it's important that we make sure that that need is taken care of. Simple trick for me, let me not talk about anyone else. My own personal example, if you want me to come to a meeting, I need some role, at least a timer role. Without any role, I'm not interested in coming to a meeting at all. So the VP education, in fact, I would say all the ExCom officers plan in such a way that every member who attends your meeting has a particular role. Include roles. So we have a round robin drill. So all the members get a 20-second chance to introduce themselves. As I said, we have a pronunciation master. We bring in a master evaluator. So bring in roles to make sure every member has a speaking slot. If not, for example, I can take up membership with you, Prem, but then what will happen? If you don't give me a speaking slot, I'll not turn up. And not all speaking slot needs to be speeches. Right? So that would be my recommendation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? See, no questions mean either you've understood it all, you've not understood at all.
I have another question. It is like we have an educational goal, and what if a person has completed 2 parts and have reached the DTM? What is the next thing that we can feed to that person?
Thank you so much. I think the most important question of the day would be this. We all look at reaching the DTM as some pinnacle of Toastmasters. It is a pinnacle, but the mountain does not stop over there. There is a second range. This is when you start moving into leadership, moving into mentoring, and you nurture the people around, right? You have become a DTM. How are you going to help another member in your club to become a DTM? You perform the role of an area director. Why don't you become a mentor for the area directors in your division? So it's important that someone who thinks that they've completed the DTM journey, look at becoming mentors. Also, there is something called an accredited speaker. If you feel that you've completed DTM and you have nothing more to attain, ask them to go ahead and look at becoming an accredited speaker. This is very similar to becoming a professional speaker who is acclaimed world over. If the person is interested in speeches, you need not become the world champion of public speaking. Okay, world champion of public speaking is only one person, but an accredited speaker can be 2 or 3 also, depending on how well your presentation skills are. And that's a fantastic way of becoming a professional speaker. So you could introduce them to this.
One thing to add to it is, see, there are 10 paths in pathways, right? So when you say people completing 2 paths become a DTM, what about the balance 8? 7 years, 8 years into Toastmasters, I am not yet a DTM. Though people mistake me for one, but I tell I am in no hurry to get there. Okay. Because I don't believe that that is a pinnacle. Okay. Life has to it's just another, like you do ALS, ALB, ACS, it is just another thing. Okay. So I will get there when I want to. But that should not be the reason why somebody joins Toastmasters. If you look at pathways today, 10 paths are there. And each path, if you go into it, and if you analyze it properly, there is a lot that you learn which will help you in your professional lives. The people say, oh, it's very difficult. Open each path and see what it has. Yeah. It talks about networking. It talks about how to create a proper project plan. It talks about leading a team. It talks about listening skills. Yeah. So imagine if somebody completes all that 10 paths, you will get to where you are. And I also know people who in the traditional program completed everything. They still went back and started from zero. Yeah. And one person told me that when he completed those 10 CCs in this traditional path, he went back to his mentor and his mentor told him, whatever you have done in all the 10 is wrong. So you go and start again. So he went and started again. So there are people like that. And when we have traveled across the world and met Toastmasters abroad, there are people who've been in Toastmasters for 30 plus years. When I was in the convention in Colorado, I met a gentleman in the smoking area. And he was telling me that he's been in Toastmasters for 30 years and he has not gone beyond an area director. So I said, were you not kind of selected? He said, I never wanted to. He said, I'm happy going to my club, giving my meeting speeches, mentoring people, doing everything. I'm good with that. Okay. So he was happy. So it's not that once you complete DTM, people say there is nothing. You can take leadership roles. You can still go back, do all the paths. You can become a mentor. You can become a coach. You can do you can start a club. Who's stopping you from going and opening clubs, right? So there are a lot of things that you can do. And one thing is, a DTM is a DTM. You do DTM twice, you are still a DTM. You do DTM thrice, you are still a DTM. So there is nothing in Toastmasters called double DTM or DTM square. Okay, I have seen some people putting things like that. You do DTM 4 times, you are still a DTM only. Okay, so you can't say DTM plus DTM plus DTM plus DTM, right? So just wanted to make that clear to a lot of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Satish. No, I think it's valid. You know, there are so many parts. Even in the traditional, people only looked at finishing one for their. You finish their CC and then you go for one ACB and one ACS. But there were many other manuals. Similarly, we understand, yes, there is going to be a cost involved for the next path as such. But I think, again, people will have to look at it as an investment. So this question always comes, I finished my 2 parts and now we have a 3rd part. I finished that also. After which, should I pay? Yes, of course you have to pay. This is a learning organization. And the least you invest in learning is time to begin with. After which there is a small investment. So they can take up the other parts As Satish said, they could go ahead and open up clubs, educational speakers. They could go to other clubs and give educational speeches. They could help a lot of, today, the biggest challenge we face in Pathways is I've completed 5 levels in effective communication. There's another person who's in the 3rd level in effective communication, does not know how to give a project. So you can help that person and mentor that person. That helping each other, that mentoring is extremely important, and that will keep you engaged.
Yeah.
I hope
Hi,
we answered your
Aarti.
question. Yes.
This is Senthil from Tudukuran, Area Director of H3 Elect. So I just have 2 questions. And before that, I would like to appreciate you for nicely linking the Maslow's theory to the Toastmasters growth ladder. I found it very interesting, actually.
Sendil, sorry to interrupt. I did not link it Toastmasters. I linked it.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
be honest.
Probably it came to my awareness today. So it was revealing for me in a way. So I liked it. There are 2 things I wanted to ask. One is like the Tamil Toastmasters clubs. Like I am actually looking at starting a Toastmasters club for Tamil Toastmasters club, but I don't know how far it is actually doing well in our because I think there's a materials are available, but still they are not able to contest in any of the. There's no platform where they can have a equal contesting thing. So how is it actually happening? Because having just a language added to the Toastmasters manual, in what way are we actually bringing it to, and especially being in Tamil Nadu, we are not using the Tamil pathway so much. I am really concerned. The whole idea is to ensure that more people benefit from Toastmasters, right? So that is one thing I wanted to ask. You could clarify this, and then I'll ask the question.
Sure, Sendil. I think there are 2 answers to your question. Number 1, we'll have to look at how Toastmasters was instituted. It was in the US to help people in public speaking. And because it was the US and public speaking, no one thought about English becoming a challenge. But outside there, especially in India, for us, though we talk about as public speaking, we are also joining Toastmasters to improve our spoken English. That is why if you ask me, are we giving a level playing field to the other bilingual clubs? There is a challenge. However, instead of going with the only Tamil club, I would suggest you go with a bilingual club. So at least outside of the club levels, they are able to participate in the other initiatives that is taken. So you could be a bilingual club and you can participate in the contests. And to understand more from a practical perspective, we have 2 bilingual clubs in our district. One is Tamil Utri, and we also have Gempa, which is in Japanese. At least here, there are a lot of people who will come and listen to your speeches because we understand your speeches. But Japanese, I wouldn't even want to go because I wouldn't understand it. As simple as that, right? So first, keep it as a bilingual club so that you have more participation. Second, you will have to have inputs from these 2 clubs because they are the ones who've done it, seen the challenges, and you will be able to go ahead and take the best practices from them and grow your club. Satish, maybe you could add a little more in this for this particular question, please.
I mean, Sandil, it is, to look at it, Toastmasters has curriculum for clubs in multiple languages, that they have Chinese, they have Tamil, they are also working on Hindi. Okay? But those are all like to encourage more people to join the movement. So especially local centric, they very well understand, because Tamil is not only spoken in Tamil Nadu. I mean, you have Tamil clubs even in Singapore and Malaysia and all that, where there's a sizable Tamil population. So it is helping to get more people come into Toastmasters. Whether there will be contests in that local language, it only depends on if the size grows. So tomorrow, if we have 30, 40 clubs in Tamil Nadu that have Tamil, or some are exclusive Tamil speaking Toastmasters club, or some have bilingual, then we can go approach TA to say, can we run a contest only in that language, right? So today with just 1 club or 2 clubs, it is not possible. But I would say that if you want to kind of start clubs, and that is something which as a trio also we had discussed, to say that if you are opening up new clubs, let us encourage people to open bilingual clubs, okay? Especially in D120. Okay? We already have a successful example with Tamilutru. And with Tamilutru being there, we can always, I can see DDM Sampath is raising his hands and he's one of the pioneers. So I'll let him also answer. Yes, sir. How Sampath, sir?
எல்லோருக்கும் காலை வணக்கம்.
Kale Vanakangal, sir.
The Tamilutru is running very well. Today evening at 5 o'clock, their meeting is there. Of course, it may clash with our program today here. I know in the Middle East, several Tamil only clubs are there, and they are having a combined contest also. But in the systematic way of organizing an area division, that is not there. But in the regular district division in the area, Arabic contests are also starting there in those districts. But actually the Arabic contest, even if you win up to the district level, you cannot go beyond district level. Up to district level, they have got it. So as Satish rightly said, there are more clubs, we can organize contests. Otherwise, inside the club itself, we can organize the contest. So bilingual is a better option, as already told by our two leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Sampath, sir. So I would advise that if anybody has
No,
the-
I get, excuse me, Dini. I am parliamentarian in the DDM
Yes, Shivraj.
Shivraj.
Yes.
I have myself has started a Tamil club in Bahrain in District 20. Now in Bahrain, they have 3 language club, Tamil language club, and in Kuwait, they have 2. So they conducted area level contest, division level, as well as district level. They conducted that contest. Like what our Toastmaster Sampath has mentioned, Arabic is already, they are doing the Arabic contest for the past 10 years or so. Now Tamil also they started, and they are planned for a Gulf region Tamil contest. Maybe they will connect even with the Malaysian and all the other people. Since now it is possible, because we are doing online meetings, it is possible to connect any Toastmaster, Tamil Toastmasters throughout the world. That's what happening. I have seen last time I attended as a judge for one of the contests. I've seen Toastmasters from US, New Zealand, Malaysia, Singapore participating in that. So it is all, it's possible. So we can, I request our area director H3 to initiate for a new Tamil club, Tamil only club. You can start as a Tamil club or bilingual club, whichever club. And it is possible that once we have more than 3 or 4 clubs, then we can conduct our contest. It is possible.
Yeah, thank you for all the valuable inputs. Yeah.
Can I take some 30 seconds?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Satish. I am associated with Tamilutru initially, and I am the sponsor for Gemba, Japanese Bilingual Club. I don't want him to reinvent the wheel, so I'm sharing my experience. I tried to have some English club experience there in the Japanese club. It doesn't work. This is the caution I want to share with them. What we have, the set of formulas, no, this works, those things, no. The game is entirely different. That is the alert I would like to give to. I'm not discouraging you. I'm just trying to encourage, but I don't want you to waste time. The formulas we have for other English clubs may not work for bilingual clubs. The game is different. It is tennis. This is grass court. This is clay court. Something like that. Game is tennis, but the courts are different. Have I made it clear? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
But I think with we already having a sizable population in, I mean, if you look at Tamil Nadu, if you go and say it's a bilingual club, you can get mainly get more people to join. Okay? Because if they know, they can also come and speak in Tamil. Today, some people might be holding it back, saying it is English. So, but if you say it's open in Tamil also, you might actually get more people to kind of come into the and be part of the club. So from the district, we can give all the support to go and open a bilingual club. Let there be more such clubs that come into the fraternity, and that's what we kind of encourage. Because it's all about communication and expressing yourself, and language should not matter, right? So it's please go ahead and
that's the thought. Like though we say that it can be a bilingual club, somewhere there's a complex in languages also. Like people think talking in English is more affluent and talking in Tamil is not so good, and that's so worrisome in being in Tamil Nadu to hear this. So there again, I feel that like what DDE, he said that having exclusive club is actually going to be the ball game instead of trying to mix both the languages. That's what I personally feel, because the total tone of the meeting is different when you have it as a single language versus a double language. That's one thought. Okay, anyway, I'll just, thanks for the inputs. I will think on those lines and I will work on that and connect to the team if I need some more help. One more question I have, if you have got time, I'll ask now or we'll take it later.
I think we have overall time for one more question. So Sendil, if no one has a question, I'll circle back to you.
Yeah, okay.
I have one question, Aarti. This is Harun
Yes,
from
Arun.
Area B1. So we talk about the area council and area PQD or the club growth area. I just wanted to understand, if you were to select an area PQD, what are the qualities that you will see in a candidate, and how would you recommend the area directors to choose an area PQD, and how the PQD team works with the area PQD as well?
Okay, the first two qualities I will look at an area PQD would be passion. That is more to passion to, be a part of Toastmasters itself, the basic passion. They want to come out of the club and they participate. Second, the attitude towards learning. Okay, because we are looking at people who do not have any exposure at a leadership level. If you want people who already know and will be able to support you, that's not going to happen at that level. So if they're willing to learn and they have the passion to go out, talk, try different things and work on the duties given to them, then I would take them in. These are the two things I would look at when I'm selecting a member. In terms of what I would like them to do would be, if you remember when talking about club visit, I said do a research. They could help you do that research. They could also go online, talk to a different people, try and give you a completely different perspective from the one that you have, so that you have a 360-degree holistic view of that club. That is one area that I will take them. Second, I would also go ahead and look at them helping you in reports. Tomorrow you might be called for a milestone meeting. Now, when you go to the milestone, if you're able to give some numbers to talk, they would be extremely happy. If they are good in data analysis, where they look at the previous data this year, see what needs to be done, if they can compare the club success plan and see what are the areas of concern for that particular club. And if you could focus, so they would be the person who would do the data analysis, do the comparison and come up with a plan for you. You will have to go and see if the plan is doable or not, if it works in terms of how to implement it. Talk to the ExCom officers and say, here is some solution. Do you think it will work? Or if it's not going to work, how do you tweak that solution for that particular club will be your area. So this is what I look for when I was looking at a division PQD team, not even an area PQD team. This is what I looked at that point of time, and we were able to be successful. I hope I answered your question, Arun.
Yep. One last question was how the PQD team would be helping the PQD assistant area director. Is there any provisions that we could come and ask for some help?
Of course, yes.
Yep.
Okay, worst case scenario. Let's say there is one club you're not able to do anything with them in spite of whatever you've tried, it's failed. And you're frustrated and you want to pour that frustration to someone, call me. The least I can do is I'll be a good listener to you. I've been there. I've gone through that, we can't name the clubs, I'm not naming it, but I'm like, why did you even open a club in the first place? But that's what life is all about. So worst case scenario, we will listen to you. Best case scenario, we will come up with a solution for your problem.
Okay.
We can, not just me, as I said, we have a huge team. You'll get to know the entire team. We are there to first listen to you, 2, talk to you, empathize with you, 3, come to a solution which is agreeable for both of us. And in the case the third is not possible, we will agree to disagree and go with what is TMI rules. Last we'll go with process. Only again, that's the worst case scenario, 2 extremes. One, solve it amicably, or we will go with PI rules in situations where we are not able to take it as a request.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, thank you so much. I had shared my number and email ID. I'm always available for any discussions. One request, please do not call me after 9:30 p.m. If you call me after 9:30 p.m., I'll call you at 4 a.m. in the morning. But yes, as a team, we have a request. Give us 24 hours, drop an email. Within 24 hours, we will respond. And that's been one of the criteria in selecting our team members. We will not spend there. Otherwise, it will be like entire day, we are only Toastmasters, and after some time, you will lose us. So we will not do that. But within 24 hours, you will get a response from us for all your queries. And with that, let me thank all of you for this wonderful discussion and opportunity, and give the control back to our MC of the day, Toastmaster Divya. Thank you.